Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Emma and this channel is all about everything to do with sewing. Thank you for stopping by to watch this video. Today's video is a little catch up of a few things that I've been getting up to, and then I'm going to show you my sewing box collection because that's something I get asked about quite often. I have quite a few sewing boxes, so I thought you might like to see them today. I really hope so. But before we get into all of that, I just want to say that my thoughts are constantly with everyone in the world who is really suffering with the absolutely awful things that are going on at the moment. It feels strange to be sitting here talking about sewing boxes when there's so many terrible things happening at the moment. And I just wanted to make it really clear that that is in the forefront of my mind all the time. I've had a little break from making videos. I didn't make one for last week. My son wasn't well, but also it just feels strange to be carrying on when those things are happening in the world. But I do know that a lot of you tell me my videos help and that you enjoy them, so I'm carrying on, but I just really wanted to make it clear that what is happening is in the forefront of my mind. And as a family, we've done what we can to donate and just to help in those tiny, minuscule ways. But I just wanted to say that at the beginning. So, how are you all? I really hope that you're doing well. Here, spring is springing, and that really makes a big difference when the sun is shining and the flowers are starting to come out. It's a real joy, and it does really help to lift the spirits. And it's a beautiful day today, and I've been planting seeds in my greenhouse and they're just germinating. Our sweet peas are germinating, so that's really nice. So I've been a bit quiet on social media because I've been doing things that I can't share right now, but one of the things that I've been doing is working on a new hexagon sewing case, and I've made a nice blue one. It's been requested for quite a while that I have a kit in my shop. I haven't sold full kits for a hexagon sewing case before. The pattern's actually been out for 2 years now, and right at the beginning I did just a small number of supplies kits, and then after that I did basket kits for my hexagon basket. But I finally managed to get around to making up a new colourway of the hexagon sewing case, and this is it in these beautiful blues. We've got Liberty fabric and Tilda fabric, so the white is Tilda, the dots is Tilda, and on the inside it's looking a bit empty because I have had it full of things and then I've been moving them around, but it's a lovely blue on the inside with a blue zip, and it's been really enjoyable to make. And I've also been filming a workshop for this pattern, or you make a covered button as well with Liberty. So I've also been filming a really in-depth workshop that's going to go on a part of my website called Stitch School, where I'm going to offer in-depth lessons for making things. There's lots of detail about that on my website. It hasn't opened yet. I'm really close to launching it, and I'll put more details in my newsletter, which will be coming out really soon. And I just want to say it was not going to make any difference to YouTube. I will still be doing free tutorials and things and sharing on YouTube in exactly the same way that I have been for almost the last 2 years now, which is crazy to think about. But Stitch School is just an extra thing, and it goes with my patterns because there's only so much you can say in a pattern using words and photographs, and as you know, because you watch my videos, I'm a very visual person and I like explaining things through video. So I haven't brought out any new paid patterns over the last almost 2 years really. Well, about 18 months since the last paid pattern, which was the hexagon basket, because I feel like I need to show more. So I've now made this platform where I can include videos with my patterns, and hopefully it will really explain things better and you'll get an insight into the world that I'm creating with my patterns. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it did. So as well as make the sewing case, I've been working a little bit on a new block of the month that I joined. So I really love the block of the month kits that Sew and Quilt produce, and I've been a member of 2 of their block of the months in the past and haven't finished either of those quilts. But I definitely will. But I couldn't resist when they launched their new one for this year, which is the Lone Star quilt, and it looks like this. And it's got a real antique quilt feel to it, which I really love. It's just something a bit different from my patterns and the fabrics that I choose, and that's why I like doing these things, and it feels like a break from designing, and it just keeps me stitching, so I really enjoy doing these kits. And this one is slightly smaller than the ones in the past, so I feel like I can keep up with it a bit more, although it doesn't matter, you don't have to keep up, but I'm enjoying the fact that I feel like I'm on track with it. So this was in box 1. We did the centre of the star, and there was also a triangular piece which goes that way. So box 1 I've managed to complete, and then box 2, it was 2 rounds of diamonds, which I have all of them basted, and I've been sewing some of them together to each other ready to put into the star. So they're well underway, and I have the 3 hexagons done, and these 3 hexagons make a corner square. So I just now have the stems and the leaves to do. So I'm really enjoying that, just trying to fit in little bits where I can. But other than that, I haven't really been making much else because I've been spending a lot of time working on videos and editing videos and things like that. So there will be lots of new things coming from me later this year. Good things are coming. So I thought I would tell you a little bit about my sewing box collection today, because I do have rather a large collection, and I don't really collect anything else. I don't have lots of handbags or shoes or jewellery or anything like that. So that's how I'm justifying this sewing box collection. And also I've been collecting them for many years, probably 18 years, and lots of them are gifts as well. So it might seem excessive that I have a lot of sewing boxes, but like I say, they bring me a lot of joy. I use them all the time to store my projects, and a couple are really old ones that have been passed down to me. And I guess this is where the name Vintage Sewing Box comes from. I think when I set up my online name so many years ago, it was way before I had a website or before I ever really posted anything much on Instagram or anything like that. I had to just choose a name, and I just chose Vintage Sewing Box because I love sewing boxes. I really do. I really love collecting them, and so I thought I'd show you a little peep at my collection. So would you like to see? I hope so. Come on, let's go and have a look. So this is the first sewing box that I'm going to show you, and it is one made by a company called Cath Kidston, which is a UK company, and they used to have the most amazing shops, but there are hardly any shops left now. They closed most of them during the pandemic, and that makes me so sad because I love anything Cath Kidston. I love their prints and most of the things in my house, plates, cups, cutlery. I've got so many tins. I really do love Cath Kidston things, and one of the things that I really love are their sewing boxes. And they used to sell lots of sewing items as well. I have lots of those, but I'll show you just the boxes today. So this is the townhouse box, and it's the drawer here, and I keep my embroidery, my Saju embroidery threads in here in the little boxes. It's a really nice deep drawer. Now I just want to say that all these sewing boxes that I'm going to show you today, you can't buy them new anymore, and I'm really sorry about that. They are old now, almost vintage, some of them. So in the top, in the roof, there's a place to put pins, there's a pocket here, and I have just different packets of needles and things like that that I've been trying. So I'm just on odds and ends in this one. But I really love, it has a big handle here. I really love this sewing box. It just brings me so much joy. So this is the ironing station in my room, a bit messy at the top at the moment, but on here I have quite a few sewing boxes stored. So this big wooden one is where I keep a lot of my embroidery threads, and it's just a standard big concertina wooden sewing box, and it's not anything old at all, it's quite new actually, but it's really practical because it has these big compartments. It's really good that you can open it out and you can store your threads by colour. That's how I choose to do it as well. So that's a really good practical sewing box that I really enjoy having. And behind it you can see there are 2 more sewing boxes up there, and there are actually 3 down here. So let me show you those. This one is another Cath Kidston little house box. It's much smaller than the other one, but it's storing my patchwork of the crosses, just some of the pieces. I love how they have these little trays in the top, and you can organise your pieces and things like that. So I love using it for that. There's some more bits and bobs at the bottom. So this is the one that I use for the patchwork of the crosses. I just love the detail on the Cath Kidston sewing boxes. These little flowers made of felt, and they always have a really nice handle on the top. So again, this is something that you would, I'm sure, be able to find on eBay if you search Cath Kidston sewing box. So the next Cath Kidston sewing box here, this is the Provence Rose sewing basket, and I love this because it's just got such a vintage feel to it, and it is almost vintage. I've had it for that long, but it's embroidered on the top. Here, this part is embroidered with this rose motif, and it's just so lovely, and it's a basket all the way around. So they did used to make sewing baskets like this in the past, and that's where a lot of the Cath Kidston things are inspired by things from the past. So I don't even know what's in this one. Oh, very empty at the moment. I have some cross-stitch things in it, that's right. Just before Christmas I bought some of these hand-dyed threads, and I was going to be working on a cross-stitch pattern, which you can see it's in the bottom here. But I wasn't happy with this colour of fabric, and I couldn't get the right colour, so it's sort of halted. But I'll just show you the patterns in case you're interested. I was working on these country cottage needleworks, little house, like the glitter house they're called. So they're Christmas themed, but they're in pastel colours, which is obviously right up my street. So I have all of them and the threads, but haven't progressed very far with that. That's being stored in this box here. I love that one. Now, as well as using lots of sewing boxes, I use lots of little plastic boxes and containers as well for pieces. There's some pieces in this one. It's really handy. A lot of little things on the go. Now, this sewing box is really special to me. It's got another cross stitch in it. But this one my gran bought me, and it's not old. It was a few years ago. And it's just one of the times I went to Hobbycraft with her, and she bought me this. I saw it and I was like, oh, I really love the fabric. It really made me think of Liberty, and just really love the colour. It's bright and cheerful. It's nice spotty design inside, and she bought it for me, and just have a really happy memory of that because she's no longer with us. And yeah, I just have a happy memory of going to Hobbycraft and her buying that box for me. It was really kind of her. So this other house box here is another really special one, and that I actually got given this as a Secret Santa present at work, and I've got my buttons stored in this one, my button collection here, because it comes with this really great tray. You can have everything organised, and there's all sorts of buttons in here. Really big collection, but it was just the most amazing Secret Santa present to be given this beautiful house sewing box. So the person who bought this for me, I don't even know who it was. It's a very lovely person at work who clearly knew me very well. I love the bunting on it and all the flowers, it's just so lovely. I wish I had more shelves in here that I could have all of the sewing boxes on display. That's my aim one day. Deep down in the back of this corner here is another sewing box, and I bought this one myself. I didn't really need another sewing box, but I just love this fabric with the owls on, and deer, the birds, just nature. I just thought it was a really lovely sewing box. And inside this one, I've just got some bits and pieces from a project that I started and didn't finish. Quite often in my sewing boxes I have hand cream, because I really find it easier to hand sew when I've put some hand cream on, and it just really makes a difference. I do struggle with dry skin, so that really helps. I tend to have one of them in most sewing boxes or bags, project bags. I've got a little pin cushion, I've got some beeswax thread, there's some sew line glue up there, and see some needle minders which are really cute, and yeah, other bits and pieces in the bottom of projects started and not finished. That's a real theme with me. There's another pin cushion here. I made this one a long time ago. Tiny pin cushion. So I think this is number 8 from what we've looked at so far, and it's another Cath Kidston house one. So in total I have 4 sewing boxes that are houses, and 3 of them I think are Cath Kidston ones. I think the other one isn't a Cath Kidston one. But this one is the chalet one. This one was bought for me as a gift, but bought secondhand. So you can get really great examples of these on eBay secondhand. It was in absolute perfect condition. You can see there's not a mark on it. So I just check it comes from a smoke-free home when I get things on eBay. So what's really nice about this is how it opens up like this. So the roof opens like that, and then you've got pockets at the sides, and there's a pin cushion here. And I just love this print. I can't remember what it's called, but it's hearts with roses inside it, and there's the Cath Kidston label there. It's a really lovely print. And if you want Cath Kidston fabric, you can also buy fabric scraps of Cath Kidston on eBay as well, which is something I've been doing recently. I'm planning a Cath Kidston quilt. Yes, I am a little bit obsessed with Cath Kidston. Anyway, this is my row by row quilt, which was the first block of the month that I did with Sew and Quilt. And yes, it's all in pieces at the bottom, all the blocks. So much ready to go, ready to stitch. But I just haven't got there yet. But I don't mind, it'll happen one day. But yeah, I really, really love this chalet one. It's got a tree on that side. What's on the other side? Let's have a look. Let's see. Nothing on the other side. And just got a heart and flowers on the back. So that's box. Yeah, I definitely think I need some shelves to display all of these. So the next one is another Cath Kidston sewing box, but this time I'm using it for storing my crochet items in. So it's this lovely Provence rose pattern, and it's blue on the outside and pink on the inside, which I really love. And again, it opens in that sort of 2 halves way like the chalet house does. It has the pockets in the side and a pin cushion, and this lovely tray which I've got my crochet hooks stored in and hand creams. And then when you lift the tray out, it's difficult with one hand, but when you lift the tray out, I've got my crochet project that I was working on earlier this year, these floral hexagons. I've got that stored in the bottom. So you can use these sewing boxes for storing any crafts really. It doesn't have to just be sewing, but that's a really nice box. It's not quite sitting flat, I think, because of this. It might be in the way. But yeah, it has 2 handles, and it's just really nice to store your project in boxes. I find them useful because I can carry them around really easily. to other parts of the house if I want to take it downstairs or sit outside. Everything's contained in this and I can just take it really easily. So that one must be number 9. So last of all, we have 2 vintage boxes, which may not really seem like anything special. I mean, there are amazing vintage sewing boxes that you can get in antique shops and things like this, but these are really special family heirlooms. I spoke about this one on my interview with Karen of Just Get It Done Quilt, so you might have heard it here. Oh, I forgot I had this one inside. I've been just storing it in my cupboard. Don't really know the story that much behind this little one, but this bigger one, you can see that it used to have this pink lining. Just really don't know where these threads come from either. But this was my great grandmother's, and then it was kept by my gran, and then when she passed away it's been given to me, and the lining is gone at the top here because I know that my great grandmother used to just slip her pins into it and they'd get lost behind the line and it eventually disintegrated. But it does need some restoration, you can see. So I've had ideas about maybe restoring this and maybe putting a nice Liberty lining on it, but I don't know. Don't want to ruin an antique, if you know what I mean. But it has a really nice design, but it's very, very beaten. It's worn, it's old, it's probably 100 years old or more, probably more. It's not in great condition, which is a shame. It used to have a key, but we don't have that anymore. Yeah, it's not in the best condition, so I don't really know what to do with it. I'm not using it for anything, as you can see, just storing it. And then there was this little box as well. Maybe it was a jewellery box. It looks very dusty and dirty in there. Again, these things could be restored and cleaned up. Until I work out the best way to do that, I'm just hanging on to them and treasuring them. So there, they were my great grandmother's, passed to my gran. And this one was actually my mum's sewing box when my mum was a child. She gave it to me when I was little, and I haven't got anything in it at the moment. So it's very 50s, yeah, from the 1950s. Unfortunately, the drinks have been put on here. You can see the wood has been sort of stained probably by cups and things. And the legs are a little bit loose, they need tightening up. But nothing a bit of sanding and maybe a bit of oil couldn't fix. A bit of tightening up of the legs. So it's just nice to hang on to this. My mum she hasn't used it for years. She gave it to me when I was a child. This was my first sewing box. And it might not look like much, but it really does mean something to me. And I'm just keeping it. And I think I will clean it up and refresh it one day and use it again. It holds so many memories for me from when I was a child. And my first sewing projects were kept in here when I was about 5. And again, they were little things that she gave to me that were sewing things that she started. I started with embroidery. Yeah, she gave me her childhood embroideries that she hadn't finished, and I started working on them, and then I got my own things. So really, this is the vintage sewing box that really started it all. So it's very precious to me. So I really hope that you liked seeing those sewing boxes and learning a little bit more about them and why they are treasured by me. It's just something really nice to have in the sewing room, and yeah, I do think I need to get some shelving in here and have them on display a bit more. So that's something to think about for this year, I think, another change to the sewing room. So I'm off now to tidy up all of the mess in here, but I just want to say before I go, thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you for all of the lovely comments and everything like that. And hopefully I'll see you in, not next week, but the week after, with hopefully some nice projects or something to share. I'm not sure what's coming next, but if there's anything that you'd like to see, I do have a huge list of video ideas, but I'm always happy to add new things to the list. So if there's something that you'd like to see from me, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you have a precious sewing box, or maybe you have a Cath Kidston sewing box too. Let's chat sewing boxes in the comments. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon. Take care and happy stitching. Bye.